All right. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and gamers. Welcome back. Welcome back to another review and opinion video. So, as you might guess, it's about Solar Ash, at this point it's not new, but the newest iteration from Heart Machine, the creators of Hyper Light Drifter. I literally, about a minute or two ago, just finished the game. So I'm hot off the presses. I'm going to make my review of it, my opinions of it, and say how I felt. Overall, and without spoilers, obviously. Overall, I love this game. I actually really fucking love this game. So the whole aesthetic of the game is very similar to Hyper Light Drifter, and I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons because it's hard not to. But with Hyper Light Drifter, I was drawn into it because of the pixelated look, the color scheme, and the general story. Because they had some like big, scary, old dead god monster imagery in Hyper Light, and that definitely transfers over a little bit to over here. It's very much the same thematic, however, it's completely different gameplay styles. The best way to describe Solar Ash is a mix of Jet Set Radio, which I never played, and Shadow of the Colossus, which I did play when I was really young and never beat. Now, Shadow of the Colossus and Jet Set Radio, I don't know again about Jet Set Radio, but Shadow of the Colossus has massive boss fights that they can't really like kill you, it's just you fucking up and trying again, which is basically the same thing here. It is almost like one for one, you could tell they were heavily inspired from Shadow. And it's not a bad thing. It's just the scale of Shadow, and I think the storytelling, since there wasn't too much direct storytelling, it set a different tone than Solar Ash. Solar Ash, there's a lot of direct storytelling. Not too much, but a lot more than Shadow. But in general, the whole thing in Shadow, there was more bosses there, and they felt larger in scale some of the time. Not to say some of the bosses here weren't large, they were pretty large, but overall, I think Shadow does it slightly better, but I think it goes really well for Solar Ash. Because Shadow is slow. Solar Ash is a fast-paced game. It is a game where the movement feels fluid. There's not much of a combat system. It's very bare bones. I actually wanted more to the combat. You have your basic 3-hit combo, and basically the whole game revolves around you skating and you moving around. If you're moving around in this game, it feels good, and that's how you really play the game. It's half a movement game, half a like attacking enemies game, but the enemies are just okay. There's not that many diverse enemies, and you just hit them until they die. The bosses are basically Shadow of the Colossus bosses, except you move really fast, and they're big and you move around them. Because it's newer than Shadow, it looks a lot cooler to do. I would definitely say this game looks a lot cooler, but the feeling of awe and just giantism in Colossus was a lot better. But overall, the aesthetic of this game, like I said, it's very similar to Hyper Light. It feels like Heart Machine with Hyper Light was testing stuff out, was trying to find their footing, because I have the same complaint about this game that I do for Hyper Light. Hyper Light, I think the combat was a little bit more fleshed out, but there just wasn't enough content. The combat didn't need to be fleshed out. It could have been a little bit more, but it didn't need to. But I wanted more. I actually thought the game was so good, I wanted more. Excuse me. The music was pretty good, but I just wanted more like story. I wanted more stuff to happen. I wanted there to be more. I felt like it was too short, which is a good and a bad thing. It was such a good game, and I played it on the hardest difficulty without doing New Game Plus, because New Game Plus unlocks a new difficulty, which I'm not fucking doing because I got the ending I wanted. But I think that for the hardest difficulty, 7 hours is not bad. And the game is not that expensive either. I believe I got it on sale. But the stage design in this game, too, is something I got to question. Like, there's different areas you go to in this game to fight the different bosses. Just think of Shadow of the Colossus. If you don't know it, then I'll try and explain it. But you go to different areas in this game to fight the different bosses that can't really kill you. Some of them can at certain points, but it's not like direct, like they're chasing you. It's not like really hard, they kill you and they just keep, spawn camping you. No, it's like if you die, you kind of just messed up, and it's pretty obvious when they're going to attack, and The main thing is them not attacking. It's you just platforming and trying to platform correctly. But the stages, oh my god. They start off pretty okay. Like, there's a lot of verticality and a lot of dimension shifting. And what I mean by dimension shifting is, like, you'll be traveling straight, and then there'll be a dive, and instead of jumping off, you stick to the dive, and, like, your whole perspective changes. It's like you're walking up a wall. You can walk up different walls because gravity is played with, and it's so fucking cool. I honestly don't know how they designed some of these stages unless they were on drugs, and I mean the good kind of drugs. The fucking stages sometimes are so unique and cool, and they do a lot of stuff with the environment. You would think for a movement-based game there's not a lot they could do, but I was actually surprised at the amount of stuff that they have in the stages that are different. Let's say, I'll say it this way. So in the beginning of the game, you find out you can skate on anything, ground or clouds. You skate faster on clouds, but you could also skate on the ground. And in the beginning, there's clouds everywhere, and then there's the ground. And then later on, as the game goes on, there's different things that you can skate on maybe for a little bit, like acid, and then you have to, like, cool down before you skate on it again. And then there's lava, which you just can't skate on at all. It's like, and then there's rails. There's an entire section where it's so vertical, and there's, like, flying whale ships in the sky. It was super creative. I was like, they definitely spent time, and I honestly don't know how they designed these stages. They were so well designed. Some of the boss music is really good too, not most of it. The music is kind of whatever. One or two of the boss musics really, like, popped out, and I was like, oh, okay. But overall, the story too. Let's get to the big meat of the thing. So the story. Solar Ash, I feel like, is a dual thing. It's a game trying to focus on two things. The gameplay, which is not mostly related to combat. Combat's involved, but again, it's mostly moving. The moving is so fluid with the combat as well. When I was moving, when I was skating in the game and I was going fast and I was attacking enemies, it didn't slow me down at all, and it felt so fluid. This game was a treat, just feel-wise, moving and, like, you know, killing people or killing the monsters, as well as just grinding everywhere and, you know, doing the little parkour. It was so fucking good. The movement was ridiculously good in this game. We need more games like this where it just feels good to run around and move, and you look cool while attacking while moving. It was so fucking good. But the story itself was really, really good. I was personally very saddened by it. I was very sad. But it's a great story. It's a story, if you're smart and you actually do all the side stuff, you'll pick up on. There's not a lot of side stuff in the game because, again, it's a 7-hour game. I would say there's maybe 3 side quests that you can follow. And you don't have to go too out of your way to do. They're pretty obvious. And then later on in the game, if you miss stuff, there's something you get that helps you find other stuff to, you know, 100% the game. I 100% of the game, and it was not hard. It was not hard to do. I did have to focus a little bit. But again, under 7 hours, I mean, come on. Around 7-hour mark, it's pretty easy. But overall, the story was really fucking good. The whole premise was so weird. And I thought it would be something like Hyper Light, because I feel like Hyper Light doesn't do too good of a job of a storytelling. But again, I feel like Hyper Light was their stepping stone, and they really found their stride with this game. I'm super excited to see another game by them. I love their art style. I love the thematic. I love their whole thing. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. But as I was saying, if you're smart, you'll definitely pick up on the story and the underlying plot and what's really going on. You'll definitely pick up on it, although it's not too obvious. They don't shove it in your face, but they definitely allude to it a lot. But man, I can't sing high enough praises for this game. This game finally felt like it was giving me a fucking blowjob sometimes, which how much I was enjoying it. It was so fucking good. But overall, I'm sad because I beat it all in one weekend, the extended President's Day weekend, because I'm off from work today, and I was able to beat it. I honestly could have beat it yesterday if I just played for 30 more minutes, but it took me like a good 3 days of decent playing. Overall, though, I loved it. I loved it. I would give it like a solid 8.5 out of 10. I just wish it was longer. The combat could have been a little more fleshed out. There's not that many variety of enemies, although there doesn't need to be, because the enemies aren't the main thing of the game. Which then you can always make the argument, which I always do, is like, oh, is it even a game or is it like a movie experience? I would say this is definitely a game, because moving around, not even with combat, like divorce combat from it, the moving around and the platforming and the boss fights, which I guess involved slight combat, but very slight, It was so fucking good feeling. I'm very sad I'm not going to play this game anymore just because it felt so good to move around and skate on the clouds and stuff. It was amazing. The story is amazing. There's a lot of characters I ended up liking. It was just amazing. I can't sing high enough praises. It's only 8.5 because things could have been better, and it was so fucking short, man. But I'm excited for what Heart Machine makes next. I really hope there's a stepping stone for this to something even better. Because if they make something better than this, I'm going to be very happy. Heart Machine won me over again. Hyperlight Drifter got me interested. This won me over. 8.5 out of 10 fucking Ray's. And the voice actress, I love the voice actress. Ray's voice and how she acts, I love Ray. Ray's favorite character. Best character in the game. Anyway, though, super good, super great game. If you like Jet Set Radio or Shadow of the Colossus and don't want a greatly, an insanely long game, because this game's pretty short, I would definitely recommend it. It is so fucking good. Anyway, that's my opinions of Solar Ash. Super fucking great game. I'm really happy I played it, and I'm looking forward to Heart Machine making something else. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed.